Hello and very warm welcome to English News Bulletin, here with you with top stories from Turkey and Kurdistan. Objections continue to the result of 2014 elections, ending up with cats entering into the transforms, electricity outages, stolen ballot boxes and torn votes.
Votes are getting recounted in Bitlis Norshin due to AKP's filing on objection to the election commission after it became clear in the previous counting that the winner was the BDP. BDP's Bitlis branch called people of Norshin to gather in front of the courthouse and to defend their will and votes. AKP had objected to the result previously after the first counting, and the second counting proved also that the winner was BDP. This is AKP's second objection. In Halat, BDP objected to the results, but the election commission have not yet answered the objection. But AKP continues its terror in Halat. Police attacked two people protesting against the election fraud of AKP and detained 38 persons. 9 of them were arrested by the court. In Batman's town, Hazo, BDP's objection to the election commission after finding its votes torn and burned has been rejected by the commission. On the other hand, CHP's objections in Ankara continue as well. CHP appealed to the Higher Election Commission for the recounting of the votes in 25 districts of Ankara.
Local elections in Agri has been annulled by the Provincial Election Board on demand of BDP and rescheduled to be held on 1st of June. The votes in Agri has been recounted 15th times, in each of which BDP comes out to be the winner. AKP objected to each counting.
Our Provincial Election Board has said in a statement last midnight that elections will be re-held in the city on 1st of June. People will once again go to the ballot box and cast their votes for the election of local administrators apart from neighborhood and village headmen. Agri has been marked to have the most scandalous elections in the history of the Republic. The votes were recounted 15 times because the winner of the previous 14 counting have been BDP. On the continuing and insisting objections of AKP to many times proven results, the election board decided to annul and reschedule the elections. During the recounting processes in the last week, the atmosphere in the city was highly tensed and Agri prosecution office banned entrances into the city. Police concentration in the city has been increased by transferring new police forces from Ankara and Istanbul by plane as well as from nearby cities. BDP's mayor candidate Sarı Sakık said the government tried to increase the tension in the city in order to create a state of emergency condition to attack people, and BDP did not want to allow this. Sakık said BDP would be the winner again on 1st of June and called on Erdogan to send his best man to Agri as a mayor and added that the results would not change.
People of Serikani or Ceylanpınar protest against the shady election results and AKP's election fraud. BDP has filed an objection to Provincial Election Commission because of the frauds in the election. The Election Commission has rejected BDP's objection. The atmosphere in the town has got tensed after the rejection of BDP's objection. Police blockade has got intensified once again. The police officer brought to the town by hundreds of buses from the nearby cities blockaded the town. Police launch control points and makes identity card check in each street, road and neighborhood, as well right in many houses. State of emergency laws have been applied in the last 4 days in the town. On the other hand, BDP Executive Committee member Hüseyin Koçuk was stopped in Kebez on his way to Serikani or Ceylanpınar and detained because of another file case about him. Kurdistan Communities Union KCK has released a press statement in response to Turkish Prime Minister Recep Tayyip Erdogan on the peace process. KCK said the speech of Erdogan proved that AKP want to end the peace process and call people to mobilize in order to build democratic autonomy. KGK strongly reacted to Turkish Prime Minister Recep Tayyip Erdogan's speech, in which has declared that the government would not take any steps to enact a legal framework for the peace negotiations carried out with Kurdish leader Abdullah Öcalan. KGK said the speech of Erdogan proved that AKP wants to cancel the peace talks. KGK called Kurdish people to strengthen their organized struggles and to mobilize for building democratic autonomy. It also called all the revolutionary, democratic, left and socialist forces, the intellectuals and all the sensitive people of Turkey to raise their voices and to put pressure on AKP government. Commenting on the election results, KGK said AKP won the elections through benefiting from the whole state opportunities, while CHP lost because of its nationalist denialist mentality, as well as a result of its collaboration with Gülen movement. KGK said the following: the true victory in the elections belongs to BDP-HDP, and they prove that their line is the line of democracy and people's opposition. KGK ended its statement with calling on the Kurdish people to enhance the struggle and to mobilize in order to build their own democratic autonomy system. KGK noted that the point arrived at was crucial for people and added either the AKP government will initiate a large process of negotiation with our leader, or any other case will be a development of a new process not desired by anyone. Fighters with the Women's Defense Unit YPG have killed 35 members of the Islamic State of Iraq and Al-Shaham ISIS in clashes in a village near Kobani. According to a statement from the YPG press center, the clashes took place in the villages of Beyada and Zormekhar. ISIS forces attacked both villages at 22:30 local time Thursday evening, 3rd of April, where they encountered resistance from fighters with the YPG. In the clashes that follow, at least 35 ISIS members were killed, including 2 Saudis and 1 Tunisian, while many more were wounded. A large number of the bodies have been recovered by the YPG. The YPG also recovered a Kalashnikov, a pistol, 37 Kalashnikov clips and 12 cartridge belts. The ISIS, which is supported by Turkey and the Gulf monarchies, have been attacking areas under control of the Kobani canton since the beginning of March, while avoiding any engagement with regime forces. The attacks are being launched on 3 different fronts from the east, west and south. According to both the YPG and the Rojava government, the goal of the attacks is to occupy the Kobani region. The YPG has put up a fierce resistance, however, and in the last week the intensity of the attacks have decreased. According to local sources, this wave of ISIS attacks has already largely been broken. The next İmralı meeting between Kurdish leader Abdullah Öcalan and a delegation of the Peace and Democracy Party and People's Democratic Party has been postponed to next week. The delegation consists of BDP's group's deputy chairs Pervin Buldan and İdris Balıken and HDP's deputy co-chair Sırrı Süreyya Önder. The meeting was expected to take place this week after the delegation applied to the Ministry of Justice on Wednesday to have a meeting with Kurdish leader Abdullah Öcalan in İmralı prison. During the last meeting on 9th of March, Öcalan had said that the first meeting after the election would be a very important one. The course of the democratic solution process in search of a peaceful solution to the Kurdish question is expected to take shape in line with the developments and steps to be witnessed in the past election process. Women from South Kurdistan come together in a conference to discuss violence against women in the region at the European Parliament.
Kurdistan Democratic Party tried to change their case and did it, but we never forgive the criminal and are to be taken.
Women from South Kurdistan organized a conference with title of Judicial Obstacles to Fulfill Women's Rights in Iraqi Kurdistan at the European Parliament. The conference was organized by a member of EU Parliament Anna Gomez, Rezan Saleh, Susan Said, Necibe Karedahi and several Kurdish women. Participants of the conference discussed subjects such treatment of the rule of law towards women's rights in Iraqi Kurdistan, women issues in a region where the judicial system is not independent, discrimination against women in policy and legislation in Iraqi Kurdistan, and factors behind the logics of protecting the honor. The conference started with featuring a short documentary film about the women's problem in the region.
The Kurdistan region, known as Iraqi Kurdistan or South Kurdistan, is an autonomous region of northern Iraq. The regional capital is Erbil, known in Kurdish as Hewler. The region is officially governed by the Kurdistan regional government since 1992, after uprising of Kurds in 1991. Violence against women in the Iraqi Kurdistan region has increased, according to a monthly report from the Kurdish government. On the 28th of the same month, the women, in order to convey the same message, gathered outside the office, Hewler's governor and the cabinet.
Then the panelists spoke out about their views on women's problem in South Kurdistan.
I'm so glad that today I can bring you the voice of those who cannot be heard in our society, the women of Kurdistan. In the last 2 decades, Kurdish homes have become the most dangerous place to live in for some of our women. Killing, torture, threats, and forced suicides have become a part of some women's daily lives. While killings and violence against women are taking their toll in our society, violence has become a part of the life of the community. There isn't a day that passes by and some kind of violence in general and against women in particular will not be noted. To understand the reasons for this violence, we need to look at some of the issues behind them.
Women activist Gona, in her speech, paid attention on increasing number of women's killing in the region.
My contribution today is to highlight the discrimination against women that violates their basic and fundamental human rights in the law and legislation in Iraqi Kurdistan. And we've heard some of these statistics from the video and from my friends here. We've heard a couple of stories like of Sakar, of Nigar, who was 14, of Sakar, who was a teacher who was only in love with someone, and she was killed by her father. But I think I'm going to kind of try to bring your attention that these are only a few stories out of many, many thousands of women since 1991.
A member of European Union, Anna Gomez, spoke about the main aims of the conference.
To listen to our friends from the JN Women's Group who are working for reform in Iraq, in Iraqi Kurdistan, who are working for the rights of women and want to change the laws and change the practices and change the mentality in Iraq that allows honor killings to continue, that allows genital mutilation to be hitting the women of Iraqi Kurdistan, that allows impunity for the murderers of thousands of women to continue free without paying for their crimes in justice. It was very useful to listen to these brave women to whom I pay tribute, because I know that they work in very difficult conditions, meeting often abuse, facing risks, but still persisting. I think this is very important for the future of Iraq, for the future of democratic Kurdish Iraq. And it's a call to the authorities that they have to act, and it's a call to the civil society that they have to support these brave women, and it's a call to all the perpetrators that they cannot go on enjoying impunity.
There are plans to construct 3 hydroelectric dams in the Tigris Valley, which is an area of rich history and the region's source of oxygen and life.
The project envisages 3 dams to be called Tigris 1, Tigris 2, Tigris 3, which will change the natural flow of the river by means of water level regulators placed at intervals, leaving many historical edifices, such as the 10 Arches Bridge, underwater. Landscape Architects Chamber Diyarbakır branch representative Ferit Turci warned, the flora and fauna here are under serious threat. Projects planned for the Tigris Valley came onto the agenda with the destruction of trees in the Havsil Gardens. Permission for this new project has been granted by the regulatory body for the energy market to the Eser Energy Electric Production Company. This hydroelectric energy project threatens to redesign the area, destroying the ecological balance. Landscape Architects Chamber Diyarbakır branch representative Ferit Turci said the real aim of the various projects developed by the state in the region was to invite environmental destruction. Turci added that the hydroelectric power station project covered 60 kilometers of the river and entailed the construction of 3 hydroelectric plants and 3 regulators. He said they are taking advantage of a new law in order to encourage private companies. Eser Energy has licenses to build 3 dams approved by the EPDK, and they are continuing with the project. Turci said the project envisages changing the flow of the river 6 times over the 60-kilometer stretch involved, adding that there would be serious inundation that would threaten wildlife. Turci said the total energy obtained will only be worth around 5 million Turkish lira a year, which is a very small amount. This is why we think the real aim of this project is to destroy the environment of Kurdistan. Turci continued, we know they want to build on this land. They intend to privatize the river banks which belong to the people and open restaurants there. They want to create speculation over land prices.
Turkish government's blog on Twitter, which caused an international uproar, has been ruled out by the Constitutional Court for being a violation of freedom of expression. The decision is the most significant legal challenge to the ban since a local court has ordered it to be lifted last week. Both the main opposition party and prominent legal academic Kerem Altunparmak applied to the court for the overruling of the ban. Our hope is that the rule of law will prevail and they will implement the judgment. If not, we will think about going to the criminal court, or we can repeat our application to the Constitutional Court, or other option might be considered, said Altunparmak. Prime Minister Recep Tayyip Erdogan blocked the microblogging. Despite the local courts ruling out, the ban still remains effective. Erdogan's actions followed a stream of anonymously posted audio tape purporting to expose corruption in his inner circle days ahead of the bullet. Let's look at the violence against women in Turkey. Men killed 24 women and battered 54 women in March 2014. While 25% of women were killed for seeking divorce, 21% of the murders were committed despite the court restraint order.
Men killed 214 women and 10 children, raped and sexually assaulted 167 women and teenager girls, used violence against 241 women and teenager girls, arrested 161 women and teenager girls in March. According to data based on reports in local and national newspapers and news agencies, a compilation made by BNet revealed that male perpetrators left 24 women dead, 2 raped, 54 battered and 2 arrested in March 2014. In 2014, male perpetrators killed 60 women, raped 13 women, assaulted 145 women and arrested 12 women. In March, men killed 24 women, 4 children and 2 men in 17 cities across Turkey. One of the killed men was a police officer responsible for court restraint order. 25% of women were slain for seeking divorce. 20.8% of women were killed despite the court restraint order. 2 murders occurred in the courthouse. 58.3% of women were slain by their husbands. 14 women were killed by their husbands. Other murder perpetrator men were identified as male relative, son, lover and ex-lover. One of the murderers were not identified. In March, only 2 rape cases were covered by the media. A 20-year-old male forced her 16-year-old girlfriend to have sex with him and his friends by blackmailing with their private photographs. A sex worker was raped by her client. In March, men battered 54 women in 23 cities across Turkey, while 9% of women were subjected to violence by their husband lovers for seeking divorce or resisting to come together. 5.5% of women were subjected to assault excusing honor. 68.5% of women were subjected to violence by their husbands. Other male perpetrators including 3 religiously wed husbands, 2 fathers, 2 husbands, 2 lovers, 2 ex-son-in-law, a relative, a son-in-law, an ex-lover, a son, the daughter's-law, a stranger. 24% of women were injured with knife, 11% of women were assaulted with gun, 63% of women were battered, 34 women were battered. Other methods included knife, gun with boiling water. In March, 2 harassment cases appeared in the media. A man from Izmir province captured women's private data whom he met on social media. He forced them to give money to him and have sex with him. A man from Samsun province broke into his neighbor's house and tried to rape her. The woman screamed and the rapist ran away. In March 2014, 82 cases of violence against women, murder, attempted murder, harassment, rape and injury were reported across 35 provinces across Turkey. 82 incidents were distributed according to regions as follows: Marmara 30, Aegean 12, Mediterranean 15, Black Sea 8, Eastern Anatolia 4, Central Anatolia 0 and Southeastern Anatolia 5. In March, 3 women used violence by their husbands constantly attempted to suicide. It was 5th suicide attempt of one of the women. The other 2 women attempted to suicide after their husbands battered them.
This was it from us. We will see you next week on Thursday. Thanks for watching us. Goodbye.